It's talking to us. Isn't that wonderful? I'm so glad you're all with us tonight. We're here with the importance of focus. Let's turn our attention. Let's focus our attention. Let's turn our attention to why we're here. If you would like more out of life, and I'm going to speak to you folks here visiting with us virtually and our live audience that's here with us too. I'm so glad you folks are all here. If you would like more out of life and you'd like to focus on making it happen, this is an interactive workshop and it's for you. Our special guest presenter is Greg Dwyer, and he's going to show us how to create real magic in life and get more of what you desire. So he's got some inspiring nuggets of wisdom. Yes, I know. And more importantly, he's advised that we're going to leave this presentation with an action plan that you can implement straight away when you go home. So you'll get some value here. You're getting value out of being here tonight. Who is Greg Dwyer? Oh, I had to ask myself that a number of times, but he let me know. He gave us all this great information. Greg is a former illusionist, which really captured my attention right off the bat. He's a motivational speaker, but a former illusionist, and he worked backstage for Doug Henning's The Magic Show. And he was also seen by over 6 million people on CBS with The Late Show with David Letterman. You all remember Dave. Greg has traveled the world sharing his insights with others. And tonight we have him here with us. How exciting that is. So let's give Greg a warm welcome and turn the show over to him.
Yeah. I'm so glad you guys are here as well. I've been thinking about this topic for a long time. And what I know, and you probably know this too, is distraction is a big problem. So can you remember the last time you were focused on something that was like really important to you? It was like really important. And then you got distracted. Maybe it was a person, they walked in the room. Maybe it was social media, something, went off and you got distracted that way. Or maybe it was a cell phone. I don't know if you know this, but you'll probably be surprised. I've heard this number from 80 to 150 times a day, people pick up their phones. And if they're at work and they're not supposed to pick up their phones, on average, it's like 30 times. So people are kind of like doing this and they shouldn't be doing that. So it's a big problem. Now, I think this is going to shock you. On average, in 1 year, just in America, so this isn't all over the world, it's just in America, they estimate that businesses waste up to $650 billion just because people go to work and they're kind of like doing something else, they're totally distracted. So distraction is a big problem for businesses, but it also is a problem for us as individuals, me included. So I started thinking about this, and I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but I started thinking about this 20 years ago, and little by little, I started putting the pieces together. And the first thing I thought was this. I really thought, and I could almost bet my life on it, that if you want to stay focused, the answer is discipline. Like, okay, if you're going to do something, you just got to be disciplined. And discipline's good, but I find it to be really exhausting. And then the other one is willpower, which is great. Willpower is great. The problem with willpower is it doesn't last. So I was following this track thinking, okay, if I want to be focused in business, because I run a business and another business as well, then discipline's the answer and willpower. And I found it didn't work for me long term. And then what I found within business is if you work for somebody, you have a boss and you go to meetings and you have supervisors, they tend to use the carrot and the stick. They want people to stay focused. And if they can get them to, have a pain or pleasure stimulus, then they can keep people focused. Like, look, if you don't do your job, we're going to fire you, or we're going to give you something so that you do something. I found that all of those things are good, but they're not great. And what I'm going to share with you is something that works 100% of the time. Like these other things, they work some of the time, and they work for low management. Like if you're working at, I don't know, a restaurant, you're working with kids, maybe the carrot and the stick is good. But when you get to higher levels, that stuff just doesn't work anymore. And it doesn't work all the time. And this is what I found out. It works some of the time. Discipline's good. But what I'm going to share with you before the night's over works 100% of the time. And it's this. importance drives focus 100% of the time. So I'm going to show you this tonight. And when you walk out of here, that's going to be ringing in your mind and you're going to be changed forever. That importance drives focus. So let me show you what I mean. And the people that are watching can participate. And you guys can participate too. Everybody stand up. You got to put everything away, the cell phone. You can't be distracted. And all I'm going to ask you to do is think about something that is really important to you and kind of get it in your head, like whatever it is. And I was talking to Holly before. Most people, it has to do with health, has to do with relationships or spirituality, or it has to do with money, or it has to do with lifestyle, or it has to do with emotions. You know, people want to be happier. So if you think of these categories, think of something, and you don't have to share it, by the way. I'm not going to ask you to say what it is, or you don't have to share it either. So it can definitely be personal. But I want you to think about it, and as you're thinking about it, hold it metaphorically between your hands like this. So bring your hands out like this. And it helps if you're dominant right hand, you could put that at the top, but if you're dominant left, you could put that at the top as well. But what you want to do is you want to imagine, maybe it's health, maybe it's travel, maybe it's money, maybe it's a promotion. So you're kind of like visualizing it in the middle, you know, and then you're going to bring it down. And this is important. So bring your hand up like this. And then as you bring it down, just imagine that you're getting closer to what you want. Like, I remember like 20 years ago, I wanted to travel the world. So I wrote it down, and it was crazy because I was broke 20 years ago. And I wrote it down, and I've been all over the world. And I don't know how that happens, but it's true. So bring your hands closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer, and then bring them like this. And then notice which thumb is on top of the other. So if your right thumb is over the left, it means you have a 95% chance of getting what you want, which is pretty cool. Now, if the left thumb is over the right, it means you're really good looking and you're probably not going to get it.
I'll take that. I was going to say 100%.
Right. Okay, so let's do this again. Bring your hands out like this, and if you're home, play along, because if you participate, you'll learn something. This is a workshop. And think about what you want, but this time, switch your thumbs. So if your right was over the left, you're going to go the opposite, right? And if the left was over the right, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to do the opposite of what you did. Think about what you want, and then bring the hands down. Now, when they come together, switch the thumbs. So now the thumbs are different. So if it was the other way around, it should be different now. Now, this is true. What this means is that if you want something new, you have to do something new, and it's going to feel very, very uncomfortable. So let me show you what I mean. Hold your hands out like this with your thumbs facing up, just like this. Everybody at home? All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your left arm, and you're going to move it over to the right. Very uncomfortable if you've never done this before. And then you're going to bring your hands down like this, and you're going to hold it together. Now, if you're doing it right, your thumbs are going to be right at the bottom, right here. See that? Kevin, do you see that? All right. So what I want you to do is move your pinkies, which are at the top. Pinkies at the top. And then take a look at which thumb is on top of the other by doing this.
Wait a minute.
What'd you just do?
They can't do it. I don't know why. They weren't following. They weren't paying attention. They were distracted. All right, now do this.
Yeah.
All right, have a seat. So this begs the question. Is it possible to multitask well?
No.
No, it isn't. You're absolutely right. The research, and I've done the research, I've studied this. If you want to cook a meal, right? And you want to also go down and do the laundry and talk to your girlfriend or your husband, your wife, your friend, you can do it. You can't do it really well if it's really important. So imagine it's the middle of the summer and you walk out on the beach and the lifeguard is doing this with his phone. Like, you're like, no way. So here's what I've learned. If what you want to accomplish is important, it needs all of your focus. You can't be multitasking. You can't be, like, if it was April 14th and you were sitting down and you're like, well, I'm going to do my taxes, but I'm also going to, I don't know, do something else. You're going to not have all of your focus and all of your energy towards one thing. So the key is, multitasking is okay. Like, you can listen to the radio, you can drive the car, but multitasking came from the computer industry many years ago. And it's a fallacy. What they discovered is the computer is jumping back and forth between different things. If you're an engineer, you know anything about electronics, it's not doing the same thing or different things at the same time. It's jumping back and forth, jumping back and forth. We as humans, we can multitask, but if the thing is really, really, really important, like, think about sex. You know, you don't want to be in that and thinking about the laundry or the taxes or anything else. If it's truly important, you want to be there. And I hate to be crude about it, but it doesn't make any sense to think that we can do 10, 15, 20 things at the same time if we don't have the ability to do it. So if it's truly important, you have to be focused. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to look at Rich Sear. He's a friend of mine. I've known Rich for, how long have we known each other?
At least 4 years.
Too long is what I thought you were going to say.
Yes.
All right, we rehearsed this, Rich. Let's do it again.
Okay.
How long have we known each other, Rich?
We've
known each other too long. So if I'm going to look at Rich, and I'm going to focus on him, I can't see Holly that much, and I can't see Corey. Corey's over here, right?
I hope so.
All right, Corey's over here, but I can see her red, but I can't see her face. And the gentlemen that are in the back, there are 3 gentlemen in the back. I know there's a man over here, but I really can't see him. And if I take my hands like this and I move it out right here, like if I'm right here, I can't see my fingers. So if I go in, and Rich is a financial advisor, and I'm sitting down with Rich and I'm talking to Rich about my 401k and my Roth and what's the market, and he's going to tell me what to do. And all of a sudden we're having this conversation and he's looking at his cell phone, or he's looking at the other person there, or he's distracted. I know that he's not really focused. And how does that make you feel? Or how would that make you feel? Or how does that make you feel? It makes you feel terrible. Absolutely terrible. So there's a reason why you probably have seen this before, which is pick a card. Pick a card, right? So everybody has seen this before. You simply pick one card. Now, why is it important to just pick one card? Because if what's your name? John. John is in the back. If I said to John, I want you to think of 7 cards. You know, I'm going to give you 7 cards. Or maybe I'll say to you, sir, maybe think of 14 cards or 21 cards. It's kind of tough to remember all of that. So John, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to have you pick one card, just one card. I'm going to make it really easy. Don't show anybody. Just take any card you want. Got it? Anyone you want, doesn't matter. Okay. So John's got a card and he's going to look at it. And everybody has seen this before. Everyone's seen a card trick. You've probably done a card trick. You've probably seen your uncle do a card trick. Pick a card. The reason why picking a card is simple is because it's just a card. That's it. So John, would it surprise you if I knew that your card was a red card?
Not necessarily.
Okay, good. And would it surprise you if I told you the card was a diamond? No, he's not. John is not impressed at all. Like, and what I surprise you to tell you that it's the 7 of diamonds. So every single card in here is the 7 of diamonds, which makes it really easy, for me to know that John got the 7 of diamonds because there's only one card in here. And that one card is the 7 of diamonds. So here's the point. If it's really important, have one focus. I mean, if I had 52 cards, and I said, hey, pick a card, and John picked a card, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it was a queen, maybe, I don't know. But the fact that every single card is the same makes it really easy. So there was a guy by the name of George Miller that talked about this in 1956. This is what he said. There's billions of bits of information coming at you at the same time. Trillions. He said like 7 bits of information we can focus on. That's about it. If you get to 9, you can maybe handle 9. But once you start getting more and more and more information, after a while, you can't handle it. It's like overwhelmed. Like if I said to you, I want you to think of 7 things that are red in the room. Well, the first thing, is that red?
We can call it that.
I want to call it red.
Fine.
And my shirt, I just got this today. This is brand new. I thought it was cool because it's got the black and the red on it. So that's 2 things. So if we were to look around, and your notebook is red,
Yeah.
right?
Books.
And the books are red, and this top is red. So how many is that?
5.
Okay. So can we find 2 more?
Exit sign.
The exit sign,
Fire alarm.
the fire alarm. 7. Excellent. So if we had to, we could say this, that. We could easily do 7 things. Now, if we said blue, let's add 7 blue things. I'm thinking the mask. I'm thinking John's mask, the shirt, that shirt. What else is blue? Chair. Yeah. How many other things?
The tape on the floor.
Yes, the tape on the floor.
Books over there.
Yes, the books. Yeah, the book's over there.
The wall.
The wall. Right. So now we have 14 things to remember. And if you're good at memory and you're good at crunching, you could probably do it. But then if we added another 7 red things, another 7 blue things, eventually we would be what? Overwhelmed. And that's the reason why I only have 1 7 of diamonds. I don't have 52 cards. I only have 1 card. Focus on one thing rather than 100 things, because eventually what happens is we feel totally overwhelmed. You remember last time you felt overwhelmed? Just totally like overwhelmed.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, all of us have probably experienced that feeling of just too much. Like, and especially I think with what happened last year in 2020 and really what's going on today, there's so much information. There's so much information over here. And after a while, people feel like I can't take it all in. So about 15 years ago, a good friend of mine calls me up and he goes, how would you like to go to Israel? Now, I'd never been to Israel. I said, sure, let's go. So we go to Jordan, we go to Petra, we go to Bethlehem, we go to Israel, and I am completely overwhelmed. And the reason why I'm completely overwhelmed is because I've never been there. The smells, the bells, the language, the culture shock, the places. I was there for, I think, almost 15 days. And after a while, I said to this guy who was my leader, he was a guy, I said, look, I'm having a little stressed out, thing going on here. And he goes, what's going on, Greg? And I says, it's just too much. He goes, I understand. He says, be careful of the tricksters. I said, what? He goes, yeah, the tricksters. I said, what do you mean? He goes, they're like magicians. I says, oh, you mean the pickpockets? He said, yes. He said, when people are overwhelmed, when people are, sensory overload, which I'm doing to you tonight, by the way. What happens is you just can't take in all the information. And so what happens is you're easily distracted. And then what happens is these people, they bump into you, they steal your wallet, they steal your passport. And he says, they're better than magicians. And I said, why? He said, well, think about it. If they don't accomplish their goal, they don't eat tonight. So they're really focused on what's important. I've been all over Europe. I've been all over Israel. I've traveled for a decade. I've had people put their hand in my pocket as I get off a bus. And it's the weirdest feeling. You're getting off a bus or a train and someone just goes like that. It's crazy. I've had people come up to me and tap me. I've had people bump into me. I had one guy actually in Jerusalem. He came up to me and hugged me, like total stranger. And I just kind of pushed him because he was trying to figure out where my wallet was. In 10 years of traveling all over, I've never had anything taken from me, ever, nothing. And I'll tell you why. My friend, my guide, his name is Iyad, some of you know him. He said to me, you have to be careful and you have to be focused because it could ruin your trip. So about 6 years later, we're in Bethlehem. He's teaching me how to guide trips and take people on trips. And I've been doing that for a decade. I don't do it anymore. And we're in Bethlehem. And when we're in Bethlehem, this guy walks out of a gift shop. And we're all getting on the bus. We're all getting on the bus. And this guy's from Lincoln, Nebraska. Great guy. I think he was actually a minister at a church in Lincoln. And I said to him, I think his name was Tom. I said, Tom, get on the bus. Get on the bus. And these people were circling around him. So Tom was standing right there in the middle. And all these people were circling all around him. And they had a flute, they had a scarf, they had postcards, they had all these things that they wanted to sell him. And I'm saying, Tom, get on the bus, get on the bus. And Tom is like, you ever see like a deer in a headlights? That's exactly how Tom was. He was just like that. He wouldn't move, he wouldn't do anything. And he wouldn't get on the bus. And he bought this flute. This guy held up a flute for $1. So he opens up his wallet, he gives him $1, he buys it, he gets back on the bus. About 5 o'clock at night, he comes up to me, and this is a true story. He goes, my money's gone, like all of it. I mean, it was terrible. What happened was he didn't listen. He didn't listen to me. He didn't listen to the other guy that was working on the tour. And what he did was he got confused. He felt overwhelmed, and he was a target for the pickpocket, which was a really sad story. Now, there's another reason why it happened to him, and that's this. And I've been thinking about this for years. He thought that flute was the most important thing going on in that circle. So here he is standing there. These people are all circled around him. In his mind, he said, wow, he goes, this is $1. Like, I can't get this anywhere. You know, his pattern, his thoughts, you know, saying, oh, I got to buy this. It's $1. I'm not going to get on the bus. I got to see what's going on here. So in his mind, he had like a hierarchy. If you think of a triangle, and at the very top, he's thinking that this thing is what I have to have. You know, this is what was at the top of his triangle. And in my triangle, I'm like, look, my hierarchy is get on the bus. It's better to be safe. We can get you a flute later. You know, that's not a problem. But in his mind, that's what he saw. And because of that, he was taken advantage of. The other thing that is alarming, and I don't know if you've heard this, but on average, we have 45 to 65,000 thoughts every single day. Every single day, we have 45 to 65,000 thoughts, and 90% of them the next day are identical. I read this a few years ago, and I thought to myself, this is crazy. We have all of these thoughts on a Monday, and then on the next day, 45 to 65,000 thoughts are repeated, and 90% of them are the same. So not only did Tom think that this flute was the most important thing, he was being run by the patterns that he has developed over a lifetime. 45 to 65,000 thoughts every day. Just compound this day after day after day. It goes into a habit, which gives you a pattern of activity. And what Tom was doing is he was just acting on autopilot. He's from Lincoln, Nebraska. He's a nice guy from a parish out there in the middle of nowhere. And if somebody came up to him and said, hey, do you got $1, or do you want to buy a postcard, or do you, please help me out? Tom would have reached into his pocket and pulled out $1. I mean, automatic. He didn't even have to think about it. But here's the problem. Here's the challenge. Tom is in Bethlehem. It's not the same situation. He doesn't understand that the people that are circling around him don't necessarily want to buy or sell him a flute. They took all of his money. So his patterns, which he developed, he was like 75, were used against him because he didn't know better. And that's the key. So it reminds me of a movie, and I know you know it. I love this movie. I watch it every year. Some of you can probably figure out which movie I'm talking about. February, Groundhog Day. I love this movie. So I watch it every February. I love it that much. So Phil wakes up in Pennsylvania, and he hears the radio, goes off in the morning. Rise and shine, campers, and don't forget your booties, because it's cold out there, and it's like no big deal. Like, what's the big deal? So that's his first day. So he gets up, goes about his day. Now, what's important to Phil? It's himself. I mean, he is so self-absorbed. He doesn't care about anybody else. He's self-serving. He uses people. And he's got these 45 to 65,000 thoughts going on every single day. It's compounded over time. He wants to step on people to get to the next level. He just doesn't even care. He is unaware, completely unaware of what's going on in his life. And he thinks everybody else is the problem. So the next day, the alarm goes off at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he goes, what? Rise and shine, campers, and don't forget your booties, because it's cold out there. And he's like, they're playing yesterday's track. That's what he thinks. They're playing yesterday's track. They're idiots. Then the next day, it happens again, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And finally, Phil wakes up. He goes from unaware to being aware. And then he tries to break the pattern, because he hates the pattern. He hates himself. He becomes self-destructive. He wants to kill himself. He's trying to do anything to get rid of the pattern and to break the pattern. So I'm wondering if you're aware of the patterns in your life. So I want you to think of a number between 1 and 10, like 3, but not 3, and get it in your head. How many of you thought of 7? Many of you. Yeah. How many of you thought of 7? Of course. Holly, what'd you think of? Yeah, Holly thought of 7. Now I want you to think of going into a movie theater. You walk in and you sit down in the chair, the lights go down, the curtain opens up, and on the movie screen is a dot. What color is the dot, Corey?
It's black.
Black. What color? Blue. Blue. Most people will say blue, red. Corey is a rebel. She said black. Take her out of here immediately. No, it's fine. So most people, if you give them a choice, they're going to say blue or they're going to say red. Now, here's what I want you to do. Look up here. I want you to think of 2 different simple geometric shapes. Not like a square, because everybody thinks of a square. One inside of the other. You got a triangle and a circle? Mm-hmm. Yes. Most people have, Holly, did you have a triangle and a circle?
Triangle and square.
All right, well, I said to eliminate the square, but that's
Right,
okay.
I know, but I did that too.
Yes, so given the choice, if you just go out and you talk to people on the street and you say, name a color, red or blue. If you say a number, it's gonna be 7 out of 10. And by the way, I was doing this when I was talking about Tom. I was talking about those people circling around him. And I was also talking about his hierarchy of what he valued. So I was putting those patterns in the whole time. Now, not to trick you, but to realize that we do this to ourselves. We take the same routes, we get in the same relationships, we do the same thing, we have the same jobs. We're following certain patterns, 45 to 65 to 75,000 thoughts every single day, and 90% of them are the same the next day. It's almost just like Groundhog Day. So I have a confession, and here's the confession: I am a trickster. So when I was in 4th grade, my uncle sat down at the table at my grandparents' house, and he picked up a quarter, and he went like this, and it was gone. And I was just like, whoa. And I couldn't believe it. I was telling Holly before we started, I said, I got the magic bug, the performing bug, 4th grade. So I'll tell you how bad it was. They give me a magic kit for Christmas. I learn the tricks. I take the tricks to school, and the kids are coming up to me going, how did you do that? You know, I said, well, and I'm in 4th grade, 5th grade. I said, the trick is told when the trick is sold. And so I had like 25 tricks in this box, and I sold them to the kids. I was an entrepreneur back then. And then I took the money and I bought a bigger trick. I went down to Louis Tannen's down in New York City, and I bought a dove pen, and I was on my way. By the time I was out of grammar school, I was doing magic shows for $30 for 30 minutes, and I loved it. I love the idea of tricking people. I love the idea of fooling people. And then I lost interest. I mean, probably 1981, when I graduated from high school, I said, I don't want to spend my life tricking people. But what I do love is the philosophy behind the magic. Because I know how Doug Henning makes the elephant disappear. I know how David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear. I know these people, I've worked backstage with them. I know some of the people that work in Vegas. And what I love is the philosophy behind the illusions and the tricks, because it applies to our own life. I see it in my life. I see it in other people's lives. And so the reason why I put together this lecture is to help people to be able to be more focused in their life, so that they're not overwhelmed, and so that they know what's important. So rather than being a trickster, I want to help people, and I want to show people. And so that's what this is about. I'm going to show you a plan that is really simple. And if you want to take notes, now's the time to take the notes. It's really simple. The first thing is, and it's going to sound elementary, but the first thing is, you want to know, number one, what's important for your life. So a lot of times people say, well, I don't know what's important. I mean, I know October, November, December is coming around. I can't figure this out, but you can chunk it. You could say, all right, well, what's important for Thursday, which is tomorrow? Or what's important for this weekend? Or what's important? A nice way to do it for us, because we're here together on Zoom and here, is we could say, all right, what's important for October, November, and December? Like, you're in sales, you have quotas, I have quotas. So we could say, well, what's the 4th quarter going to look like? We could be focused on that. Then we could even say, well, what about 2022, which is next year? Like, what's important for you for next year? And then you could say, well, what about a decade? Really? Like, what about the next 10 years? And then you could really step back and you could look at it and say, what about my life? That's big. I mean, who knows if we ever get that right. But I will tell you, though this is really simple, this idea of importance, most people don't do this. Most people don't stop and think and go, what's important now? Like, what's important tomorrow? Because let's face it, you have choices, We all have so many choices, so many voices, so many distractions. So just asking the question, what's important That's the first place. So when I traveled and I worked with this guy, he said to me, be careful about the tricksters. They're going to try to distract you everywhere. And I go, all right, true story. I said, most important thing in my hierarchy is my passport. So I had a camera, I had cell phone, I had shoes, I had clothes, I had a bunch of stuff. But I said, the number one thing for me is my passport. And I'm embarrassed to say this, but I actually slept with my passport connected to my belt buckle. I mean, that's how, this is like 20 years ago or when I first started. But I was so concerned about the passport being stolen or taken that it was the most important thing. So it's kind of like a metaphor for travel, because I kind of think life is like a metaphor. Travel is, that is. So the first step is to know what's important. The second thing is to make it a habit, a habit. So we have 45 to 65,000 thoughts every single day. 90% of our thoughts are the same the next day. We already have a habit. So whatever we're thinking is taking us in a certain direction already. So when it came to a habit for me for travel, I always put my passport in the same place every single time. So I had some people, they put their passport in their back pocket. Some people put it in their pocket, some people pocketbook, some people put it in their suitcase. Some people put it in their pillow, put it different places. I saw those people go crazy because one day they're like, oh, did I leave it in the safe? Did I leave it in the pocketbook? Where is it? So what I did is I figured I'm going to take my passport because it's important and I'm going to put it in the same place every single day. It's got to be a habit. And then lastly, it has to be a secret. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the secret is right now. And the only reason why I'm not going to tell you what the secret is right now is because it's a secret. And I don't tell too many people this. So there was a guy by the name of Harry Houdini who died in 1926 on Halloween at 1:26 in the afternoon. He was a great performer. And I idolized Houdini to the point where when I was in high school, I would sit there in high school at 1:26 on October 31st, and I would have a moment of silence because Harry Houdini passed away on Halloween at 1:26 in the afternoon. But Harry knew how to keep a secret. And at the height of his career, he was in London. And when he was in London, they challenged him to get out of a safe. They said, oh, you know, he could get out of anything. He could get out of ropes. He could get out of handcuffs. He could get out of a straitjacket. He could be thrown in the water. Nothing that they did to him, he got out. He was able to liberate himself and free himself. And they said, Harry, do you think you can get out of a safe? He says, I take the challenge. Now, the only thing that was important for Harry was to get out. That was the only thing. I mean, there might have been 10 ways to do it or 5 ways to do it, or maybe it was impossible. But for him, his focus was not on 100 things. It's like, I got to get out of this thing. So he never took a challenge unless he could actually do it. So picture this. This is a true story. He gets on stage, the curtain opens, and there's a safe. There's a bank safe there. They open the door. They pretty much strip him down to almost like a bathing suit. He gets in the safe. Now picture this. It's in the safe. They lock the door. They bring the curtain up. And I think it was like 35, 45 minutes later, he's out. Amazing. So you got to ask yourself this question. How did he do it? And that probably isn't the most important question to ask. A better question is, what's a safe for? Yes. To keep people out. Yes. And Harry knew that. So now that we know that, there's no big deal. But you see that little bit of shift? So when you ask yourself the question, how did he do that? You're misdirected. You're distracted. You'll never find the answer. Until you ask a different question, which is, You ever get locked out of your car? You ever get locked inside your car? I don't think so. Not a big deal. Inside your car, it's not a big deal. So Harry Houdini knew this, but his audience didn't know it at all. They had no idea. So what's your first name?
Rob.
Rob. Rob had the answer. So the only way for us or Rob or the rest of us to know that is to go inside. Is to go inside and to connect and ask a question that we wouldn't ask if we were distracted. If we were distracted and we were on to the next thing, we would probably never come back to that. And that's the reason why I paused. I paused, that pregnant pause was so that we would have time together to be able to go inside, and Rob got it, to figure out, wait a minute, and that's reflection. That's contemplation. And I think that's what the world needs today. I could be wrong, but I really think that's the answer to our stressed out society, to people that are feeling completely overwhelmed with what's going on in the world today, whether externally or internally. What they need is reflection or contemplation. I'm not saying you have to join a monastery. I'm not saying you have to be religious. I'm saying, when was the last time you just sat and just took a breath and started asking questions? So here's my secret. My secret is this is not a diamond. So let me show everybody. So this is not a diamond. The red part is a triangle, and the bottom part in blue is a reflection of what's up here. That's all it is. So the name of my company is called Diamond Mind Potential. But my secret, here's my secret. My secret is this is not really a diamond. It's just a reflection of what's above. So Harry Houdini had a saying, and the saying went like this: my brain is the key that sets me free. This is what Harry Houdini would say. And the reason why he would say this is he realized that his way of escape was his mindset. It was how he thought about things, which is really the key. So let me hand you the key, all of you, that you already hold in your own hand. It's contemplation, it's reflection, it's silence. I mean, you already know how to do it. It's not like I have to teach you to do it, but you already hold that key. Now, here's another secret that Harry Houdini, and please don't share these secrets on the internet. Harry Houdini had a key. He had a key made, and he hid it. Now, don't ask me where he hid it. Rich, you're going to ask me where he hid it. He hid the key. So he hid the key. And when he got inside the safe, he was able to use the key from the inside. So when I started learning about this stuff as a kid and I started contemplating it as an adult, I said, I wonder if this can be connected to real life. Like, is it possible that we already have the key that can set us free? And I realized the answer is yes. You don't need a guru. You don't need someone to tell you. I think what we all need is the ability to have the space and the silence to go inside so that we can free ourselves. So here's my question that I started thinking about many years ago, and I think I found the answer to it. And it's this: how do you take something that's up here, which is kind of foggy or not clear, like it would be a thought? How do you take a thought and bring it down and make it real? So let's say this is low resolution. So 20 years ago, I said, I want to go to Italy. I want to go to Fiji. I want to go to Germany. I want to go to Israel. I want to go to Ireland. I had all of these places in my journal going back 20 years ago. It was a pipe dream. Like, I didn't have the money. I didn't have the time off. And it was low resolution, like way up here, low resolution. How do you take it down into reality so that it's real? So you can say, yeah, I once thought about going to Germany. And I went, but we've all done it. You've done it. We've all done it. We say, oh, I want that new car. And then maybe years later, I want this husband or my wife or my children. I want this. We have a way of trying to figure out and we make it happen. But what we're doing is we're taking a thought, which is up here, and we're bringing it down from low resolution down to high resolution. And at that point, it becomes real. So this is my yearbook from 1981. I got to show it to everybody. This is my yearbook from 19. Here's my name right here. This is my real book, and inside it is my picture.
What high school?
New Fairfield High School.
Oh, Connecticut, okay.
Yeah. I was born and raised in New Fairfield. I am at the corner there at the bottom. I'm in a straight jacket, which doesn't surprise you, right, Rich? No, not at all. So I spent most of my high school years being known as the Magic Man, which, I loved. It was my identity. But by the time I was in high school, by the time I graduated, I kind of lost interest in it. So I know you can't see this, and I'm going to read it to you, but at the very bottom, it says ambition. It says to find the real magic in life. Not, it's there. I'll show it to you. You have the ability to see it right there where your thumb is, right here. Right there.
You want me to do that? I brought my glasses. Like it's.
I just want to verify that it is true, that I'm not trying to trick you. This is 1981. I wrote this in my yearbook.
I was before.
How can you not trust the person in a straitjacket?
I know, there you go. And Corey's gonna read it for us. The last thing, the ambition part.
Just the ambition part.
Sure.
Can't trust the guy in a straitjacket.
You gang, the pure fantasy.
The ambition,
I'm looking for it.
the ambition,
Activity.
all the way at the bottom.
Ambition to find the real magic in life.
To find the real magic in life. So what I'm about to show you in the next 5 to 10 minutes is what I believe is the real magic. And it's the closest thing to real magic that I have ever seen in my life. And I want to share it with you. And I want to ask Holly to come up and to help me with this.
I'm here.
Excellent. All right. So Holly, I asked you before to think about something that was important to you,
Yes.
and you didn't tell me.
Nope.
So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to hold your hands out like this and just bring it down as you're thinking about whatever the thing is that you thought of. All right. And then bring your hands closer and closer and closer and closer together. So what she's doing is she's reflecting, she's contemplating. And then touch your hands together. Now, again, we don't know what you're thinking about. So every morning, this is how I think, and this is true. I have these cards, and I want to show them and share them with you. They are what I call motivational cards. So every single morning when I wake up, you can take a look at them. Every single morning I wake up, one of the first things I do is I go through the cards, because what I'm looking to do is to work on my mindset and what I call cut and polish. So I feel if I have 45 to 65,000 thoughts every single day and 90% of them are the same, I want to be able to form them. So let me, yeah, that one's good. They're all good. They're all different.
Excellent.
They're all different cards. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to shuffle them. I have no idea which is which. And why don't you shuffle them up as well?
Oh, they're all shuffled.
They're all shuffled and they're all shiny.
They are.
They all are shiny. So I'd like you to think of a number between 1 and 12. Just say it out loud.
7.
Okay, 7. So count down 7 cards, but don't, oh, you're going to say 7? Are you really going to say 7?
I said
Oh,
7.
that's 7. She picked 7. Don't look at the 7th card.
5, 6, 7.
All right,
What's the 7?
put it on the top so we know.
It's on the top.
Okay. All right. So hand me the other ones. Keep the 7.
Oh, I get to keep the 7.
Yeah, you're gonna actually, you know what? I'm gonna give it to you for thank you. But in the meantime, I don't want to touch it. I want you to just put it inside here so you don't look at it. It
Yeah,
does fit.
Look at
Just
that.
fits. So we're gonna take this and put it over here, and I'm gonna give this to you later.
Okay,
All right?
gifts, there's
Gifts,
gifts.
there's gifts.
Hostess gifts.
Absolutely. So what I want to do is have you stand right here. And if you feel comfortable with this, I'd like to stand back just a little bit. Okay, perfect. I'd like you to put your hand this way. So you are going to be the dominant. I'm going to be here. I'm going to hold my hand here, and I'm not going to move. Your hand's going to move. But while you're moving your hand here, I want you to think not only your hand, but all the way down from your top to your toes on the subject matter, the thing that you were thinking of before. And I want you to be really clear about it. Okay, is that good? All right, so bring your hand straight down. Go slow, go slow. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Are you gonna actually touch my hand? That's okay. That's okay. Okay, good. So don't tell me what you were thinking. But what was the number you picked earlier?
7. How can that be?
Okay.
Say it ain't so. Oh my, the devil.
His watch says 7. Shut up. It's not 7 o'clock.
Okay, so that's how powerful you are. That's how powerful.
I knew that.
I know. Okay. Wonderful. All right. So do you have anything on you that is very important?
Give her back her wallet.
Well, the keys.
The keys. Let's see the keys. Let's see the keys.
How many keys would you like?
Oh,
to see? The
my
keys
goodness.
To the building.
Okay.
All the buildings.
Okay, so these are the keys to the building. Let's. Important.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this over here. All right, Holly, have a seat. This is a lock. It's a padlock. And Holly, there are a few keys over there.
Yes.
If you could open up the box.
Certainly.
And take out all of the keys.
A lot of keys.
There are, how many are there?
6 keys.
There are 6
everyone.
keys.
There's
All right,
keys.
6 keys. All right. So what I'd like you to do is take any of the key, and we don't want to be here all night, and put it in the lock. You're going to find that it's not going to open, so don't try to force it. They don't work.
No, they
This
don't.
one doesn't work either. Make sure you keep them all separate. That one doesn't work. This one doesn't work.
None of them are working.
None of them do work. I will tell you, just to save time. We're looking at the time. It's 7:30. If you're on
Sure.
overtime, hey, that's okay. None of the keys are going to work. All right. So, Holly, here's the $1 million question. Okay. How important is it for you to open that lock?
Well,
Not really.
not really.
No. So Holly doesn't really care, right? She doesn't really care. Pick another key, just out of giggles and just.
Any,
Yeah, I don't care. It doesn't matter. We could be here all night. You could try. All right, now put that down. Maybe try another one if you want. It doesn't matter to me. But you're kind of apathetic about this.
yeah, it doesn't.
Like,
have
what the
any-
heck? She doesn't really care. All right. So here's what we're going to do to make this really exciting. And I've never done this before. Rich knows. He's seen this presentation. A few of you have seen this before. I've never done this before. And this is the honest truth. So this is the first time I've done this. And I hope, for the sake of Holly, that it works. So Holly,
Because it's so important.
Holly, it's going to be important in a minute. All right. So Holly, take the keys. You can put the lock down.
Okay.
Take the keys and drop them in the plastic. I'm not going to touch anything. I want you to do everything.
I'm putting all the keys back in the container.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So I got something for you that I want to show you. It is this.
Oh, it's a lot.
It is a lockbox. You could put a gun in there. You could put something important in there. Let's do this. Before we do anything with it, let me show you what I have.
A key.
I do. I have the only key, and this is the truth, Holly.
Okay.
So it's important that you focus, because I do not have another one, and I don't have a master someone else. I only have 7 keys.
You're giving the key to the wrong person.
All right, no, why don't
No?
you open the lock? It's the only
This
one
is
that,
the only
it's
one?
the only one that opens.
Oh, it
All right,
does.
okay,
There the
now,
lock's open.
Holly, pay attention, Holly.
Oh, I'm paying attention.
Your keys are going in here. Drop the key in there, Holly, and lock the box. No, lock the box.
Oh.
No. Holly. I don't think we can do that. Do you know which one it was?
Yeah, right here.
Oh, it is there. Okay. It is there.
Right
It
on
is.
top.
It's right on top.
Let's try
Holly,
again.
it's very important that you focus. Okay. Focus, Holly. All right.
All right, now we
Now
can.
we
Listen,
Last
Yeah.
I don't work with anyone else. We're gonna lock the box. Okay. All right. The box is locked. Thank God you didn't shuffle these, Holly.
I'm glad I
Okay.
didn't shuffle
All right.
either.
All right, good.
Now.
Now we're gonna shuffle them. All right, so here's what we're gonna do.
Oh, that one's fine.
Oh, my Lord. Okay, but Holly, it gets even more exciting. Any way you could take the mask off? If
I
I,
can do that.
okay, because I'm gonna sit 6 feet away from you.
All right.
All right. So, just to recap, importance drives focus 100%. You know, discipline is good, willpower is good, the carrot and the stick is good, but there's nothing like importance to direct focus. So,
Here are the keys.
yes, and God's honest truth, I've never done, this is the first time. So I practiced about it, I thought about it, but the problem is you can't practice with somebody because it's up to you. So shake up the keys inside the Tupperware. So open the top.
Better focus. We're gonna
I
walk
know,
home tonight.
don't distract me.
Well, I'll give her the
audience-
box. I'll give her the box. I mean, all right. So please pay attention. 'Cause I'm a
Okay,
little
I'm
more
gonna
nervous
try.
than you are because I don't know if you know what's going on here. Take 2 keys out and hold them in your hand.
Oh, I'm taking two
Two
keys
keys,
out.
one in the
and
left
I'm
and one in the
holding them
right.
my hand,
Just like this.
Just like this.
Yeah, and you're gonna say to yourself, just drop one in the box. There's a hole there. How do you feel about it?
Well, it's a little
Noisy.
noisy and the odds are diminishing.
Yeah. So you go to the casino, do you?
No, well, I try not to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shoot. Okay, so drop that key in there and then shake it up. Okay, what time does the building close?
It's soon.
Oh, okay. Is there a spare?
It's a night in the library.
Do
You
you-
guys are all spending the night in the library.
Do you have a spare set?
There's one in the lockbox.
That's funny. I should have asked you about this before. We didn't even talk about it. We didn't even talk about this.
We didn't know. I didn't know this was gonna happen.
Yeah, when you lock the lock, I thought, my gosh, where are we gonna go with this? All right, so grab 2 keys.
Oh,
Grab
no.
2 keys. Put one in the left and one in the right.
All right, I got one in the left and one in the right.
And then you wanna stop the chatter as much as you can.
It's impossible.
I know, right? It's that monkey brain that just keeps on going on and on and on. But this is where reflection and focus about what's important to you can become a reality. So just kind of go with your trust and drop one of them in the box. Just drop one of them. You sure you want to do that one?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
It's
okay.
already there.
Okay,
I know.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
no second guessing.
Okay, all right.
There's no second
Okay, I
guessing.
get it. All right, drop it
You
in
gave
there.
me the power.
I know.
and I got the power.
You're a
I
little
felt
arrogant at
good
this
about
point. I'm a
that.
little
I am.
concerned. All right, take two. All right. So it's always that left hand that you're putting it in. All right. So it's important that you just kind of like be with it. All right, go ahead. Drop one in. Just go with your instinct. Oh, it's still the same. Okay. Drop it back in.
Take 2,
How many are left?
4, 5.
I don't know. Yeah, take 2. You're always going to take 2 because I think that's how the math works.
Oh, there's math.
Well, there is math, and I'm kind of a right brain kind of creative, kind of like, this is great if it
Now
works.
there's only one left. That's that.
All right, it's up to you, but it's really important that you,
Focus.
yeah, I think so. Because I tell you, there's a chance it won't work.
That's not good.
Well, I mean, even tonight, there would have been chances nobody showed. I mean, it's life, right? So like,
I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
all right, go ahead.
This is feeling.
Do it,
this feels
do it.
better. This is cold. This is
Okay.
hot.
All right. I'm a little sweaty right now. All right, drop the other one in. Okay, now you're down to 3.
I don't know.
All right, take 2.
All right.
So you're, all right, so
I'm so glad this is not me.
yeah, you have a
Sure.
BMW? What do you drive? What do you drive? What do you drive?
I have a nice beauty.
Oh, okay, very nice. Very nice.
Pressure, the pressure.
Is it new?
Oh, hell no.
Okay,
I'm a road warrior.
you're a road warrior.
I would do
All right,
that.
so I'm trying to distract her. Are you focused?
I'm
I'll-
focused now.
Okay, because I mean,
I am.
seriously,
I am.
I've never done this before. This is the first time. Rich, you've never seen this before.
I've never seen
So
this.
Rich has been to like 5 or 6 shows. A friend of mine said, "Why don't you do this?" I said, "I got nothing to lose. Go on."
Or Ali, it's a lot to lose.
I do.
Well, she won't invite me back.
Well,
You won't get a chance.
No, yeah.
You're
I,
out.
no, I didn't get the check yet. She didn't pay me yet.
all
Not
right.
that one.
It's in the lot.
I like it.
Actually, she's having fun with it, which is, all right, what are you down to?
I got one left. Well, I
Oh,
got
no,
this one
2.
still-
So hold the 2, hold the 2.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do this right away. I wouldn't do this right
Oh,
away.
think about this one.
Well, I
Look, I
would.
just switched them. What do you think? I'm putting it
I
back.
I
don't
think
feel
it's
good
gonna
about
end
that.
well, or it's not gonna end well. That's- And I don't know how it's gonna end, but I do want the videotape.
I want, okay. One of them has to go.
I know. But see, this is the thing. You have to focus. You can't be distracted. That's importance drives focus, because this is important.
Yeah, I need those keys back. So let's see. I still like this.
Okay.
Feel this one.
Oh,
You sure you want to change your mind?
I really don't know. I'm just.
I wouldn't get involved, because if it doesn't work.
You're in trouble. Okay.
Oh, Greg.
Oh, man.
no.
Okay, so here's my message. I've said all of this to say this. You can rely on discipline, which is good. You can rely on willpower, which is good. The carrot and stick. If you're trying to motivate a team, it's okay. But if you really want to get people at work in line, if you want to help them be aligned with their goals, it's really important to find out what's important to them. And then they'll be focused. And I'll tell you, no matter what you want to do in your life, that's the key. And you hold the key that will set you free. So let's try it. If it works, it'll be great. If not, I hope everybody just deletes from
I
Zoom.
know. Thank you for your patience. Okay, here we go. I haven't had good luck with keys lately.
Oh, my God.
Okay, open it up, open it up, open it up, open it up. Yeah, and take your keys.
Thank you.
Oh, my Lord. Okay.
All right.
So I want to thank everybody. Oh, wait a minute. I almost was distracted. I was almost, don't sign off. I was almost distracted. We forgot.
We got,
We,
yeah.
no, inside here,
Yeah.
inside here. What do you got? I forget. Here, there's something in there.
All right.
Take a look at, what does it say? That's for you to keep. What does it say?
If you love life, will love you.
I love it.
If you love life, life will love you.
Does that resonate with you?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what she got. There was like a bunch of cards and she picked one,
I got a
and
good one.
it's, you got a good one. So when you look at this, I want you to think of this experience, and I want you to remember exactly how you felt right now. If you love life, life will love you, and that's for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for hosting me.
you.
All right.
I was glad you were here.
Wait a minute, I almost was
There's more.
distracted. I was almost distracted. I'm
There's
sorry.
more.
Inside the box, there's something for you. Have a seat. I totally forgot about it. Totally forgot about it. Would you open the box, Holly? Open the box. You need zero. Lecture, Greg. Here we go. What do you see, Holly? Right here.
Oh, these?
Yes.
These-
This is important.
What is there?
Just take it out, Holly. Could you read that out loud?
Yes, I will. Let's see. September 29th, dear Holly, thank you for hosting me tonight. Remember, if you love life, life will love you. Card. Always remember what is important, which is, oh my God, wellness. Okay, you guys, are you going to tell them this or not?
What? No, you just
we-
tell them. Just tell them.
Okay,
what you think?
so tonight when Greg got here, and we have proof, but my proof just walked out the door. I had a witness. He asked me to write down on a piece of paper what was most important to me. And he turned his back, and we had a staffer here at the library watch him do this and watch me. And she was off to the side, but she just witnessed all this happening. And so on this piece of paper, I wrote down wellness. That was what was most important to me, was wellness. And you're amazing. Oh my God.
Did you get that on camera? Thank you.
Oh, look, I gotta show you people.
All right, I'm gonna be around. Thank
This
you so
is what
much.
I
really
wrote.
appreciate
I don't know if you
being
can see
here.
that. It says
Means a lot to me.
wellness.
So thank
Here's
you,
my
Holly,
letter.
and thank the people on Zoom too.
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. This was fantastic. Oh, Greg, before you go anywhere.
Yep.
We just had a couple of messages, wonderful comments from our virtual people, the
Oh,
chat messages.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Wonderful program.
Were those
So-
paid plants or those people
No,
I
I don't
know?
I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
these people.
Okay, good.
So thank you all for coming. It's very glad that you were here tonight. Greg, thank you so much. I got a lot of good little nuggets of wisdom in here. And I hope the rest of you did as well. And so join us again at another library program if you can, virtual or in person. We'd love to see you back again. Thank you
Good
so
job.
much.
Great job.
And want to see more of Greg, check out my YouTube channel where I interview.
Rich Sears,